Welcome back, Fargo. My name is Wyatt Carlson, your host and community engagement strategist with the Cons GA team at the City of Fargo. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Fred Edwards. Fred is a creative director and artist known for transformative initiatives like Umoja and Fred's Dissonance, which empower communities through leadership and storytelling. Fred has played a crucial role in Fargo over the past few years, uplifting our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebrations. This year, Umoja 56 and MLK Day celebration will take place on January 20th, MLK Day, at the Fargo Theater from 6 to 8 p.m. The event is free and open to the public. Thanks for being here today, Fred.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So first off, we're going to talk a little bit about the event. Fred, what can attendees look forward to at this year's celebration?
Yeah. So at this year's celebration, a few things will be happening. We believe in investing into the community, so we give out free gifts. So you get tote bags. You'll have fabric markers, so you can design your own tote bag this year. There'll be a photo booth station, so people can take photos that they were at the event. Sometimes people only have an hour to come to the event, so if you stop by, you can still take a photo. And we have free shirts. And so our largest sponsor is the City of Fargo. And so they want to make sure that we give out free shirts to the community. So those are before you even walk into the actual space where the performances are happening. After that, you have the opportunity to hear amazing youth choir. So Davies Vivace Choir will be there performing this year. And then we have a amazing special guest who is Tristan Love. So he works for Fargo Public School District. He is the educational justice, and he's doing a keynote as well. So we'll have tons of singers, tons of dancers, some poets, and a few surprises for sure.
Cool. Very cool. You talk about performances and stuff there, and you kind of jumped around a bit. What can people expect, like an itinerary, like when they first come to the event, and then kind of walk me through what the event looks like this year?
Absolutely. So when you first start the event, we're going to start out with the choir. Like, we're going to start out with a bang. We want people to know that the youth talent is there. And then our first theme, our first segment is getting to know Martin Luther King. And so we'll have kids give speeches and some poems about who Martin Luther King actually was and where they were coming from. And then we have students talking about how they connect to Martin Luther King, how they're living the dream. And so you'll see more poetry, more singing, more dancing, and then you'll have a keynote. And Tristan will give us an amazing keynote, and then we'll have some more singing, some more dancing, some more poetry, and then we'll have our HRC awards. And so this year's award winners are amazing. I can't say too much, but what I do know is that these people are doing extraordinary things in our community.
Yeah, we've had members from the HRC on here on previous lives talking about those awards, so make sure to come out to the event on January 20th.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit more about why those performances are important to Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy and how that kind of connects?
Yeah, I feel like in this day and age, specifically on the day that we are doing Martin Luther King celebration, it's a day that we need joy. Like, we need to come together collectively. And there's always this like separation of like who can celebrate, who can be a part of, who can like absorb this energy. And what we said was, we want everybody to be there. We want to know how you are embodying and how you're living the dream. And so how we're embodying and living the dream is inviting young people from all over the district to showcase their talents, to talk about what they believe our future can be. And it's a diverse group of young people. We have people from various backgrounds. And so one of my favorite parts about it is these youth are telling us their perspective of what it means to live the dream and the legacy today. And I think a lot of times when we talk about Martin Luther King, we have to see how that applies today for us. And so coming together, connecting is important. But what's more important is knowing that doing the right thing doesn't always feel good, doesn't always feel like it's the right time. But it's always the right time to do the right thing, according to Martin Luther King. So I feel like us giving that at the Fargo Theater, such a historic place in the historical Fargo area, is not only important, but it showcases to this community that we value different people and that we value coming together.
Oh, that's wonderful. When people think of Dr. Martin Luther King Day, they think about honoring his legacy and everything. Can you share a little bit about what you hope the audience takes away this year?
Yeah. This year, I hope people take away the fact that we have our first middle school performer. This is something that the City of Fargo has been doing for a long time now, and this is the youngest crowd that we'll have performing. And what that means to me is that our future generation, they have the ability to be seen, be validated, and most importantly, showcase something that they might not have got the opportunity to do. And so for me, Martin Luther King, he embodied to us something that was possible that we might not have known was possible. And so for me, every day I am living in my own ancestors' wildest dream. And so I always ask the community or people around me, how are you also doing so?
That's wonderful. Talking about events like this specifically, like this one specifically too, is free to the community.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how you hope this event fosters more community engagement and more youth members or just community members at large getting involved for the fight for continued equality in Fargo?
Yeah. It's a fight. Exactly what you said. I think it's an ongoing battle, and sometimes we don't know who we're going against. But I think the most important thing is knowing who is for you, and who shares similar or the same values as you, right? And so I think having this community be 100% barrier free is a value system of Fred's Dissonance, which is sober, fun, cultural events. How do we have a cultural exchange? How do I invite Wyatt to an event and he learns and he enjoys it so much that he goes back home and says, y'all should come to the next one. And you don't have to pay. And it's a barrier-free event that we want everybody to be at. And so for me, you got to have your actions speak louder than your words. And every single event that we've done with the city has been free and open to the public. Every event that we've done has also been asking critical questions about what the future of Fargo looks like. And so I know that this last week they had a meeting downtown about the future of Fargo. And so now we have another meeting downtown, but this is youth perspectives on the future of Fargo.
Very cool. Very cool. So obviously we know that it's important for community members to attend events like this. Can you talk about why it's important a bit for people to attend, maybe so that we can continue to do stuff like this?
Yeah. What I would say is that oftentimes you don't know what you don't know. If you come from a place where people don't celebrate the Martin Luther King Day in its grandiose capacity, as I do, coming from the inner city of Minneapolis, where you would have 5,000 people go through a theater and showcase the importance of today. People coming from places that are not like that, this event is perfect for you. I think this is a perfect first experience for Martin Luther King celebrations. This is a perfect experience for people coming from larger cities to get just a feel of it. But this idea of equality for all was something that most Americans had not seen in their future.
Yeah.
They didn't see it in their vision when we talked about what was happening in the future of America. It wasn't always equality or people like me and you just sitting here having conversations. And I think it's important and it's valuable, but it's more important to see it in action, right? To see, you'll have various students from various different backgrounds talking about their experiences, and people in the audience who might not look like them will share that experience and relate with them. And so for me, I don't really like to focus on the divisiveness, but rather the unity. And so Umoja in Swahili means unity, to be one. And so my question for Fargo is always, how do we come together, right? How do we not see people as different, but rather see them as somebody that we get to know? And so that's what this event does. It allows us to get to know Martin Luther King. It allows us to get to know our youth. And most importantly, it'll give us a space to connect with other adults in the space.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this event too, not only as a moment to reflect on the past, but it's also a great educational opportunity for members of the community that may not know a lot of the history involved with MLK. So.
Absolutely. And if you're one of those people who are like, I don't really know why I should be celebrated, this is a great opportunity to come and learn about who he is, about what he did, and the impacts of his legacy, right? We are benefiting from the benefits of Martin Luther King's legacy. And this year's Living the Dream is showcasing how can we as young people or as older people, anybody older than the age of 98, how can those seasoned folks also live the dream? How do we keep it going after surviving COVID, right? I always wonder, what would Martin Luther King have done if he had to wear a mask, if he had to survive COVID? What would his kids have done? And so one thing that I believe in is that he would have still fought for people to continue to have rights, to have access. So yes, indeed.
Oh, that's wonderful. For me personally, I haven't been to one of these events before.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Monday this year. But for others that may not have been to a celebration like this, if they feel truly inspired when they're there, are there opportunities for them to connect with individuals to become more involved in the community?
Absolutely. So we are an award-winning organization in regards to winning some state awards. So we won the Main Street Award for the state of North Dakota. and that was in Bismarck. The reason we won that was because it was a healthy, vibrant community award. For us, we want to be healthy, vibrant, and for the community. And so if you are somebody who is curious, who is interested, who is bored or lonely, right, we want to create those connection points. But most importantly, I always say we bridge a gap. So you'll see people from all different walks of life at this event, from honorable judges to people who might not happen to do anything but play video games all day. All of these people come together to have a conversation and most importantly, listen. I think oftentimes in this day and age, everybody has an opinion. Everybody believes that somebody should be doing something else, but oftentimes we don't listen. And so this is a time to come together to listen and absorb in a good way, in a vibrant way.
That's wonderful, Fred. You mentioned earlier today during this our discussion here some of the celebrations and the performances and everything, and an opportunity for people to learn a bit about MLK and about the community here in Fargo. Is there any sort of main message or main idea you're hoping that people take home from this event?
Two. Can I have two?
Yeah, you can have two.
All right. So pass the baton, right? Oftentimes we have older individuals, and by older, I mean anybody over the age of 98, who don't want to pass the baton and allow people to get into leadership roles. They don't want to allow people to get the opportunities that will allow them to become that boss or become that next person. People have given me the baton. And so we have somebody on our planning team who is a former student who was the host of Emoja 54 2 years ago. So this person is now on our planning team. And our goal is to not only help youth get paid for their opportunities and their talents, but to showcase that they can do leadership quality type things. And so this young lady is on our team this year. And so to go from high school to college, and now you're helping plan events, I would say pass that baton. Whatever organization that you're with, whatever qualities of life and morality that you want to pass on to people, make sure you do that. And then the other message is very, very simple. And it is everybody has a dream. We have people who block our dreams. We have opportunities that block our dreams. Some people believe that our political system block our dreams. I would say nobody should be allowed to block your dreams. They should be allowed to live their dreams. And that's the message. We want you to live your dream and to come and celebrate and learn about Martin Luther King.
That was wonderfully said. I appreciate that. So you mentioned at the very beginning the Human Rights Awards. You talk a little bit about that and the involvement of that in this event?
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to the city of Fargo. This year's HRC and the comms team and all of those folks, they wanted to make sure that we had promo, that we had marketing, that we had not only just like who the awardees were, but we have videos that are about to come out about the awardees. And so when people win, you'll get to see a snapshot of their life. And one of my favorite parts about that is Fargo has so many uncut gems. Like you have so many people doing so many amazing things, but because they might not have a social media following or because they might not go to San Francisco every once in a while, they might not get access to other people who see how amazing we are. And so you will see 4 award winners that night. So one of those organizations the organization that won is critical to our community. The youth that won was critical to our community. I'm just very excited for people to also see these change makers in action.
Wonderful.
And shout out to Zoe, Zoe Abzi from the city HRC, and Brenda. They both did a great job of making sure we had a great list of what do we want the values to be of these winners. And when I saw the list of finalists, I was like, they made sure to get those values.
Yeah, I personally don't even know who won yet, so I'm excited to see
There
it.
you go. There you go. Well, I got to keep a secret, I think, for sure.
Can you talk about how these performances tied with the awards, how that can be impactful or powerful?
Yeah. So growing up, I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We had Black Box Theater. We got paid to go all around U of M campuses and perform. When I got to North Dakota and I asked students, how much do you get paid to perform? They said, we typically do this for free or on a volunteer basis. And what I learned over time was that was an exploitation of their labor, right? And so if you work lots of hours editing videos, why should a student doing the same amount of work with less knowledge get paid nothing? And so for me, we believe that you have to put your money where your mouth is and make sure that youth are getting validated through finances. But most importantly, not just giving them the opportunity to perform here, but when they leave here, also writing those letters of recommendation for college, also writing those letters of recommendations for different jobs. Because oftentimes kids don't have that support of, we're going to help you get the opportunity. And then further than that, we're going to further your career. And that's all our nonprofit is about. And so just working with the city has allowed us to bolster that opportunity.
Wonderful. Can you talk a bit about how you hope this event contributes to the ongoing work of promoting human rights in Fargo? Like, what do you want people to take away?
Why is trying to get me in trouble? Why is trying to get me in trouble? The overall goal of human rights in Fargo, I believe, is intentional. I think that we have people at the table. I also believe that we have working room, right? We have room to do more work. We have room to do better work. I'm excited for us to have more conversations about houselessness, food insecurity, poverty, the poverty line. I'm excited to see what our Bank of North Dakota can do for poverty. And I'm also curious of this extra money that I'm assuming that we're going to get because of being the state of North Dakota with a lot of oil, how we can transform profitable dollars into impactful dollars. Right? I was told by somebody a long time ago that the more money you have, the more impact you can have. And so for me, I don't want to have a whole lot of money and the people around me are struggling, right? And I hope that the state of North Dakota and the city of Fargo feels the same way, right? We can have as much money in the world, but if people are struggling, we're not spreading that in the best way. And so Martin Luther King, I believe, didn't die necessarily for separation or racism. I think he died because he wanted to advocate for nobody struggling with poverty. And so for us, I think we have to continue to realize how blessed we are, how amazing we are to be able to live and breathe in this day and age. It is colder in parts of down south than it is in North Dakota right now. That is a prayer that I'm sure one of our grandparents prayed for in North Dakota, right? But we have to recognize how blessed we are, but we also have to continue to advocate for other people.
No, that's wonderfully put. So just one last time for the audience here. Where can they go for this event? Where and when?
Yes.
Give it to me.
If you could please go to the Fargo Theater at 6 o'clock when doors open. We will be right downtown. We would love for you to come right at 6 o'clock. If you got to get there a little late, the show starts exactly at 6:30. So if you're there at 6:32, you will miss a little bit of something. But we want to see you downtown at the Fargo Theater for that event. And if you are curious about other things happening in the community, Concordia has some concurrent sessions happening that morning all the way until about 5. And then you can come to the Fargo Theater and experience these youth and the amazing things that they're doing. And there's some things happening afterwards. So if you are somebody who cares about Martin Luther King and just the overall building with community, I would just say come on out or Google what is happening for Martin Luther King Day in Fargo, Moorhead.
Wonderful. Yeah, so as said, that's on MLK Day, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you again, Fred, for being here today.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
It's been great chatting with you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Fargo. We're excited to see you on January 20th at the Fargo Theater.